Hey guys, Wave Squadron reporting in. I'm Aaron.
I'm Calvin.
Rick.
Eric.
And we're back with the Acolyte. Before we get to that, we want to remind you that we're getting close to WaveCon, and especially the dorm tickets are going to be closing up soon, but not necessarily the WaveCon tickets themselves. You can still get all that right now over at blindwave.com/WaveCon, as well as merch stuff, such as this cool towel. But other than that, we're back with Acolyte.
Yep. It ended last time with a helmet being put on, one that removes all senses, and you can really, maybe think back on past events.
Yeah.
Like a back to tank.
What?
I think we're going to a flashback episode.
I think he's right.
But didn't OSHA put it on?
Yeah.
You think OSHA could have different viewpoints?
Maybe.
With the helmet on?
Maybe. I don't know.
I want to see it not from her viewpoint.
I mean,
again.
you can have visions from the Force that aren't what you saw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
but you can also have vision of the Force that no one saw, and it's all made up.
Yeah. It does rely on your point of view. But we had a poll last time. The poll was, do you think there is a connection between Vernestra and Camille? 17% said there is not a connection, whereas 82% of voters at blindwave.com said there is. Let's see what they were saying. Vernestra is Camille's master. Those scars on his back are from her whip.
Dang. They did say in the books and stuff that like the light whip is kind of more considered a Darksider's weapon, which is why she kind of is like a little bit more hesitant usually to bring it out, in her earlier years at least.
Yeah. Pretty much everybody just making the whip connection.
Like, she's Darksider, or more like she was his master.
She was his master
and then
and
he
gave him
left the Jedi Order
Yeah.
and went dark. So it would be kind of dark for a master Jedi to whip their pupil.
That'd be very dark.
It can't be. Seems weird.
Seems weird. All right, well, let's jump into this episode.
Yes. This is what I wanted from his point of view.
I'm so young here.
He's got a Wii U.
Wii U gamepad. That wasn't the Wii U. It was different. Just had a flashback to GameStop years.
I know.
So they were a scientific expedition.
What's with the blender?
Tests.
So were they just here otherwise, not for anything specific?
Well, they were there for months, right?
You must eat.
We've been here for 7 weeks. And there's no one here, and if we were going to find something, we probably would have found it by now.
100 years ago, this planet was cataloged as lifeless because of a hyperspace disaster.
Ooh.
Yet this planet went off.
We are looking for a Vergence.
What's a Vergence?
A concentration of force energy centered around a location.
We'll split up then. So, follow the river. We haven't covered the Northlands yet. Meet us back at the camp.
That's when he finds them at the tree.
Swoop bike. He definitely feels more Jedi Knight. Back here, huh?
That's a hell of a...
Interesting bike.
Yeah. Well... That's a
Such
lot
a different color. A Vergence. Yeah, this is.
How did you know I was here? When I can't find you, I look here.
We are not alone. Indara. Can you read me?
Like when they're going around each other, it's like a binary star system that just circles each other, you know? Cool door.
Yep.
Yep. That was a really cool door.
Well, on one door that was there that went like, and that's just how it opened up and then it came back down. That was kind of cool too. Did they build this since this place was lifeless?
Yeah, they have magic.
Man, he's climbing the tower. I didn't
Or-
realize he came into here.
That story was made up to hide this place.
I mean, there was a hyperspace disaster.
Must have like 3 stamina rates.
Oh, he watched this happen, huh?
Come with me. See what I have seen.
Knock on the door. No, that's the opposite.
Oh, they slice it, remember?
It's a door.
This must be an old mining site.
Gilnaga, slice the controls.
Old mining site, place went lifeless. They came back and they found the place.
The all-knowing Jedi were ignorant of their surroundings. I find that hard to believe.
Oh, we're gonna be sensing what he sensed, kind of thing.
Is that Torbin?
Yes.
Son of...
We talked about that before, did we?
Yeah.
That's right.
Do you wish to escape this planet? Do you wish to escape this planet? Do you wish to escape this planet? I can help you. I can help you. I can help you. I can help you. Do you wish to escape this planet? I can help you.
Osha.
It's like Galadriel, a little bit.
Kneel. If you want your Padawan returned to his right mind, I suggest you all leave. Now. The scouts will bring Osha to your camp at midday.
We appreciate your cooperation.
Poor kid just wants to.
What did you do?
Go home.
Yeah, right. Long conversation.
And the way she looked at him when they walked out. Damn kids.
Gotta work on his genjutsu resistance.
Dara, I feel a connection to Osha.
So, testing the twins is not something we can take seriously. Osha's too old to join the order.
I feel she's meant to be my Padawan. I believe she wants to live with us.
Do not confuse what Osha wants with what you want.
I think they both make some decent points.
Yeah.
Khmer also kind of had that I want a pupil, I want a student feeling. It's interesting they both felt that.
That's why I have a marking like Mama.
But your children, how can you become the leaders?
I don't know. Mama said everyone must walk through fear. Everyone must be sacrificed to fulfill their destiny. Can I go now?
Oh my god, fear.
Sacrifice doesn't sound good. Especially when there's a big hole around.
Yeah.
I want to be a Jedi.
Then you must have the courage to tell the truth.
We should continue the test.
Seems a little more manipulating.
A planet.
Correct.
Try to sense her future.
I feel like she senses something in Soul.
Wait. Are symbionts the same?
They are twins.
No, exactly the same. Even identical twins would have different symbionts. This is impossible without some kind of manipulation.
The twins were artificially created?
Maybe by tapping into a power dense enough to split one consciousness into two bodies?
Only a Vergence could create that type of power.
This is it.
The twins are the Vergence.
We just need proof of a Vergence, and those girls are the proof. This is our ticket home.
Torbin.
Man, that thing goes quick.
I don't want to go.
You want to stop Osha from leaving? Then stop her. The Jedi will not warn you before they attack. Good girl. Get mad.
No wonder she's like, I'll kill you. You know, like.
It's what she wants.
You would sacrifice our future for the wish of a child.
My children. are our future. Her wish must be considered.
You may be their mother, but you are also our leader.
Right now, I choose mother.
You cannot let them in your head again. Do you understand? I need you to help me get the girls.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
I would not bring him.
Just, yeah. Get him some, like an iPod, you know?
One of his helmets.
Yeah, one helmet.
I would die before I let the Jedi take my children.
Please don't go in that pile of trash. Oh, damn it.
What are you doing?
Get the guy on stream.
What did you think was gonna happen?
Lit his stuff on fire and then just threw in a pile of more stuff.
Right.
The guy. No.
Mama! Mama!
You can use the Force to
Mom, look what the Jedi did.
quench fire, right?
The Force to put out the fire?
I think if you're maybe very well trained, but it would be like trying to put out the fire with your hands too, you know?
My hands couldn't feel the burn. Be a lot easier.
Depends on the intensity of the fire.
The way souls walk in is weird.
Someday, those noble intentions you all have will destroy every Jedi in the galaxy.
Easy, Torbin.
Help! Mama! Help!
Osha!
Help me!
What? Why? No, guys, don't ignite your saber. Whoa! Holy crap! Whoa! What the?
We're merging!
Wow.
What was happening?
Yeah, I think they were merging like.
I was going to let Osha go. It's what she wants. It's what she wants. She chose you.
Damn, Saul, why the fuck did you do that?
Macy's Saul kills. Yep, he's got that down.
Mm-hmm.
Fight me!
He already feels guilty.
The twins! They're locked inside!
So you want to turn into a smoke monster too?
And what is this? What? They all disappeared?
It's the thing from Lost.
You should not have brought him here.
No. My mind is fortified.
Not you.
Oh no!
The Wookiee!
Kill Naka!
Man, they're really just.
2v1. Man, he's got some reach.
Is this the Wookiee fight you guys wanted?
Wookiee fight, watch your arms.
Power.
That's how he gets a star in his eye.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, you'd never be able to block.
Ah! Jeez. Yeah, he's trying.
Did jump so.
Oh no!
that.
That's the Kylo Ren theme again.
Punch this Wookiee. Oh.
Nice.
He's still a Wookiee.
Use the Force to knock him out of his brain.
Oh no, I'm waiting for like another explosion to interrupt the witches.
Whoa! Oh, yeah.
They die?
I don't know.
You set the power room on fire.
What have you done? What have you done? Hey! Osha!
He's just a big one. Yeah.
Damn.
Master. I'm sorry.
Kelnaka, send a message to Coruscant. We're going home.
Got your wish.
Indara, I must face the council.
Why would you do that to her? After everything this little girl has lost tonight, you take away her dream as well? Before you throw yourself at the mercy of the council, ask yourself why you made this choice.
What happened?
They started a fire.
Kogonada.
Guys, before we get into the discussion, wanted to remind you that next Thursday will be our Badonkagonk podcast episode, and we're going to be talking all about Acolyte since the final episode will be out next week. And we're excited to talk about that and what things we liked, what we didn't like, what you liked, what you didn't like. So make sure you guys join us next week live for Badonkagonk at 3 p.m. Eastern Time.
I feel like we had a Willow show ending. Some contemporary music in Star Wars.
Yeah, is that the first time that we've had a song with lyrics in Galactic Basic?
I
mean, we've had Panda in Duel of the Fates.
I mean, characters have sung before, if that's what you mean, like in Clone Wars and stuff. But was this song, is this a licensed song, or is this song made for this show? Like, the lyrics feel very appropriate.
It's made for Acolyte.
It's made for Acolyte?
Yeah,
I think I haven't heard it or anything
Yeah.
before, so
No, it's
I don't know.
made for Acolyte. It's by Victoria Monet.
Okay.
Power of Two from Star Wars The Acolyte.
Gotcha, okay.
But one thing too about it was that it is modern, I guess, but it didn't have I feel like the traditional guitar, kind of sound to it. It had like the beat, and then it had a little bit more electronic-y sound, I feel like, as like its main,
like an auto-tune.
Which is a little bit more Star Wars-y from
Like-
what I've had of like
Willow, don't get me wrong. Like when it plays Metallica, when it shows the thing, like that takes me out of it. This one, I was kind of, I was definitely still taken out.
taken out.
I was definitely taken out, but as I was listening, I was just going like, all right, this is what you're doing. What does this make me feel? So,
sure. It's not a thing where I'm like, I don't think that it could be played like in a bar scene.
Yeah, sure.
You know? But like if they start playing Metallica in the bar scene, I'd be like, well, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's a song here, but I don't know. I get what you mean. It is the first time of having like credits like that, I think, for
Yeah.
Star Wars, where it's got some kind of lyrical thing.
It's a fine song, I suppose. I guess I was, but it's not like there's an Acolyte ending song that I was disappointed I wasn't hearing. You know, I guess so.
I suppose that's true.
It's not like they replaced the X-Men opening.
Sure. And also, I don't feel like it's quite the same as them playing like a Metallica or any of that. Where it's like, this is a song that I already know. Why is it being used?
Yeah.
At least it's closer to like the James Bond thing, where like they made a song for that.
Sure.
But it's,
I guess,
different than what we've ever really had as the credit song for Star Wars. Right?
Sure. If you're going to do it, I wish it was a better song.
A better song?
Yeah.
So it's just a bad song?
I didn't like it.
Well, if you said auto-tune, if that's what you were focusing on. I focused on the electronical sound. I don't know if she was auto-tuned, but I know you don't like auto-tuned things.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear any.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I said, it felt like
it
felt like a song you'd hear in like a slow, like, I don't know, like background in like a club, but not like dance club, but like just like a chill.
Yeah.
Like the ones you think of whenever people are eating food and there's that girl up there and they're playing piano and she's singing.
Yeah.
I pictured it like that, like not Cantina Tatooine, but maybe like Canto Bite.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Where there's like
a little higher class.
Here's the higher class show thing going on while people are
dinner and a
drinking
show
eating and gambling and stuff. But
no, I vibe with the episode. The song at the end. I was just kind of like, why, dude? Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Giving
What's the
me
reason for that at that
otherwise
point?
or whatever.
Especially.
But
what if it was in a cantina or something? Think that'd be different?
If what?
If they entered a cantina kind of location and someone was just singing that song.
Oh yeah, that's.
I feel like I wouldn't have had.
Like I say, like this isn't an earthly song. This is a song that I'm assuming is just in the Star Wars universe or can be in the Star Wars universe.
I was just saying, like if it was.
Yeah, if it was in a cantina, I wouldn't be like, well, this isn't right.
Do you think Star Raiders did a cover of it?
They could maybe, yeah, like a metal cover on the HoloNet.
Or this is the cover.
This is the cover of
Actually, that's the
I was
first time.
gonna
It's
say.
not canon, but yeah, that's the first time we've had
Jefferson
like,
Starship.
Yeah, Jefferson Starship.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. And then we've had Jedi Rocks and stuff like that.
That's what I was gonna say.
This
the
one,
Star Wars Visions, we had
yeah,
lyrics that were English, but it's.
I mean, it's like the witch ceremony from episode 3 or 4, right? Where I saw a lot of people not liking it, and part of me is kind of like it's kind of that like watching anime in sub or dubs. Like, oh, I can't stand the dubs. It sounds so corny, and part of me is like, it's because you can understand it. Like when I would go to like a religious ceremony, and sometimes people would speak in tongues, and it's a lot more impressive because I have no idea what they're saying. I'm filling in. I do that when I listen to.
You give meaning to what you.
Yeah, sure. And usually like ritual scenes and stuff like that. It's always a language I don't understand.
Yeah, to know
or
language
like
in
that.
Latin or something.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
but whenever it's something that you
mystical,
can
what are they saying?
understand, it takes away a bit of that mystifying nature.
It's like, take her hair and turn her into this, and you're like, well, that wasn't that special.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but if you're saying Latin, it sounds a lot cooler.
So if this exact song was being sung in ancient, Dathomiri or something like that, I wouldn't. Like nothing in there would betray that of me either. It'd probably be the same voice, probably be the same instrumentation,
Yeah, I think for me it's the instrumentation where I'm like I don't feel like yeah, sure, it's more modern I guess than 50 songs or something, but it had more of a I don't know technology synthy feel to it that felt like that's what I've heard. Though the Jabba's Palace. Like, they don't really have guitar so much in that, but they have more keyboard sounds and stuff because they have Max Rebo and there are lots of drums, but it's less guitar sounds. Yeah. Except for when you get to, like, Star Wars Visions when they had, like, whatever that was. Like, that was more rockin'.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But anyway.
It ain't no jizz music.
No.
It's not jizz. it's probably close to jizz, though.
Yeah, sure. So we got a little bit of answers in this episode. In my opinion, a lot more questions. Which the most intriguing for me is why did they create the twins?
Yeah. Now we know what questions to ask.
Yeah. Like my theory, and it might be a little tinfoil, is like this ascension ceremony is to like make the twins the new leader or whatever.
Yeah.
You think they were like
I feel like they were
like growing like perfect bodies or something to use?
I feel like they were all going to do the smoke thing, and then they were all just going to be in the two sisters.
You're going to be like Namekians, they just fuse until they become so powerful.
Yeah. I feel like it was going to be a Mother Taliesin thing where they speak with many voices.
The smoke thing did kind of remind me whenever she would go into her like green. Kind of thing. So it does have that Dathomirian witch kind of feel to it.
The many voices thing, I didn't think about that in terms of Dathomirian power. We've seen the Great Mothers in another show as well do that same thing and have that voice. Interesting. No, I don't know.
I thought it was like a Bene Gesserit sort of thing from Dune.
Yeah.
Where like her consciousness will eventually go into this.
Sure, I get you.
And like maybe all of their consciousnesses will go into one vessel.
Yeah, mine was a little more sinister, I think. I don't know if it's meant to be. But her mother's side won out, in that maybe there's a part of that sacrifice that you have to choose, and Osha didn't choose to do this unless it's, I don't know.
So you think she had a twin at one point too?
Who, the mother?
The mother?
No, maybe not necessarily, but maybe the body could have. Maybe this mother has stayed the leader of the coven because of this. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought, I was trying to figure out what the mother was doing when she started to get all smoky, because then also May started to kind of, get smoky and stuff, too. Maybe if she was going to choose Osha, maybe she was going to, take May, and the other witches were going to, fly off into some weird smokiness, but they leave Osha since she chose the Jedi. But because Soul stabbed her, we don't really get to know what was going to happen, I guess.
I wonder if the power that they're using is some type of, maybe it's based around some type of spirit transfer, because all those witches were doing something, and then once that connection was severed, they all died.
Yeah, it just seemed like
just their spirits were just gone of their body is what it seemed like to me. That makes me think I wonder if there's some type of body hopping power base at the root of this or something like that.
Or I don't know, maybe they're using their life force as force energy.
Sure, yeah.
To channel or something.
Sure.
It's like creating a dyad in order to power something.
What was it? Coral, right? Was that her name?
Yeah.
She was, I think, in the middle of that whenever they all, fell. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So I assume all of them are dead. Because at one point I was like, what if she's, gone into them?
Yeah.
And making them control Kelnaka or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then using their life energy. But then she gets away. But I think that she also was in that pile.
Yeah.
And then since the other mother was stabbed, I feel like that. What my thought was of could any of them still be alive has kind of diminished a lot more after watching this episode, where I feel like I don't think any of them are alive.
It doesn't seem like it.
Or at least their bodies are there.
Yeah. And we've seen that this event has traumatized the Jedi that were involved, especially Torbin, I suppose, is the most. But Kelnaka even keeps drawing those markings in his home. We saw that. I wonder if that's just something that he can't get out of his brain or something like that, left over from when
I think it makes
witches had him.
More sense why Indara kind of seemed more so okay, I think, than the others.
Yeah.
She was still just being out there, being a Jedi, but she, for the most part, had been flying in a ship away from everything, and then came in towards the end of it all.
Kind of blameless.
I mean, she did kill all those witches.
I mean, she got them out of his head.
Yeah.
I don't know if it counts as her killing. Since they were, I don't know how to classify that. You know what I mean? Yes,
don't know if she was doing that with the intent of if I have to, I will kill them to make them stop doing this. It might have just been something that happened, and we don't know what power they were using and why they all toppled over.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't think she knew.
I don't think there was an intention of her killing witches, especially with whenever he walked in. He's like, "Oh my God, they're all dead."
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But with that, I can see where she wouldn't maybe have that same thing, whereas Torbin may, because he was kind of going in there for conflict.
Yeah.
And kind of caused a lot of this. He ignited his saber first, and then I understand Soul kind of having more guilt among him, having stabbed Mother, Anastasia?
Yeah.
And then her being I was going to send Osha to you.
And dropping May.
Yeah. And having to do that moment where he chooses between which one he wants to save kind of thing.
Yeah. I thought the actor did a really good job. But it's a lot to ask of an actor, I feel like. I liked being in on his turmoil in that decision.
Sure. Because, especially if it's... you're why didn't you save both? But I'm if you had only so much strength and you were holding both, I'm I can't I can't hold you, Rick and Calvin.
Yeah, and these damn kids aren't running back to the safe place. They're just standing there in the middle of the bridge.
Well, yeah,
they both deserve to
I don't
die.
think they realized he was there, you know? I think they were just standing there being like, no.
And I think, I don't know, maybe I'm also considering, like, what the direction must be like on set for an actor. It's like, okay, so you're using your magical powers to hold them both up, but you can't hold them both up because, I don't know, something's going on, so you have to grab one, you know? I just thought there was a lot of earnesty in his performance of that.
I mean, I
feel like that can be really heady for an actor to get through.
I mean, to say you don't know why, I mean, I think it's the same as just using your arms, right? Like the endurance, how much you can hold and the strength of it. Because even then, like, holding just OSHA, he didn't hold that one forever.
Yeah, right.
It let go, too.
Yeah.
It's
like,
kind of
he didn't, like, push May back to a safe spot or anything. He just...
Sure.
Like, let her go.
It's kind of a more casual Star Wars criticism that you hear sometimes. They want the Jedi to use the Force all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you can lift 200 pounds. Can you lift 200 pounds all the time?
Sure.
Goku can, but he trains for that.
Yeah. Like, if I can hold two people dangling off a cliff.
Yeah.
Like, but then I'm like, I can't hold both of you, and I let one go to do this. It's
Sure.
like, well, why didn't you just throw him up on the cliff? I'm like, well, sure, I can hold him, but I can't just throw him too.
Yeah.
You know, like, there becomes limitations, and with the magic of the Force, like, there also is that endurance and limitations within that as well, where people
only if you believe there are.
And only if you believe there are. Which that belief is so strong that that's what happens, right? Like, that's the circular nature of the hypocrisy of the Force sometimes. You know?
Sure.
And you got to make limits for your characters for the interest.
There's definitely in the books, I think, too, like when we read Brotherhood, like being inside Anakin and Obi-Wan's head when they're using the Force, you get a sense of like how tiring it can be to do these jumps.
It's not just physically fatiguing; it's mentally fatiguing as well.
Yeah.
Focus.
I mean, if you have a pipe with water flowing through it, and then you force high pressure water through it, it's going to degrade the pipe a bit. You know, it's going to be. It's hard to do. It ain't easy. It takes a lifetime of training.
Sure.
Okay, so it seems like our 4 Jedi are on Brendok because they are, I guess there's a sense of a Vergence being on this planet.
Yeah.
And they were also looking for an explanation to life on the planet.
Sure.
So the Vergence is like a abiogenesis.
They're looking for the Genesis Project.
I suppose so, yeah.
Well, they discussed how Brendok had a hyperspace accident as well. So probably
100 years ago.
Probably referring back to the Nihil caused a huge accident, and a lot of pieces of ships fell out of hyperspace, crashing into stuff.
Yeah.
And this must have been one of those that had hit and caused catastrophic, I don't know,
cataclysmic.
Yeah, really bad stuff to the ecosystem, and everything had no life. And then 100 years later, it began having life again. So, like, what caused that, I suppose, is why they're here. But then they stumble across this witch coven as well.
Yeah.
Which seemed to have used this power to create these twins.
Yeah, they could have used the Vergence to do that. Maybe they were the catalyst of the Vergence that brought life. Maybe Kamir's involved in that somehow. Like, I don't know.
Sure.
I mean, honestly, that's kind of a long-standing Star Wars conversation. Like, did Plagueis and Palpatine create Anakin, or did the Force itself create Anakin? And you can go either way in terms of, like, what you believe or what you think is more right. But I always kind of thought it was clever to, like, never answer that question. And thus, it kind of feels more of like a, you know, in our world, you'll hear like, you know, my cancer is in remission. Thank God, or thank your medical team. Like, you can do either one, you know?
Sure.
So I don't know, it kind of feels like it's playing on that a little bit too. Is the Vergence that something that was used to create the twins, or is the creation of the twins the Vergence?
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know. Because even with like the Mortis gods and stuff, they don't necessarily come out and say like, here's where you came from. They're just kind of like, you're probably the chosen one, and we need your help to do this stuff because I'm gonna die, and who knows what happened to the Force, and you need to create balance. You know,
like how you were created is not so important as why you were created.
The fact that you are created and what you're meant to do, kind of thing. Right?
There are other Vergences, right? Because they normally build like temples over them and stuff.
I mean, it's a word I feel like that has been not completely nailed down in terms of its usage throughout Star Wars legends, canon, that type of thing.
It's like a Force deposit.
Yeah, I would say so. A concentration. Like, you could
Qui-Gon
theoretically...
uses it.
You could theoretically say the Cave of Evil is a Vergence in the Force, a concentration around a person or a place, right?
Temple in Lothal kind of has a similar mysticism about it too. What is
Mortis
exactly,
itself, the planet that
Lothal kind of does too, with the wolves and the way that they kind of like do the things
where
they do. Like
Grogu goes to reach out and finds
on Tython.
There's also the planet that Yoda finds, the wellspring of the Force. I'm sure that's a Vergence.
Yeah, I feel like it has to be.
Because I don't know, but from one thing that I feel like this episode introduces is like, I don't know, there was just something about I found interesting that they were trying to find the source of life on Brendok, and that was where they were searching for the Vergence. Like they were literally like scanning the ground, looking for like the seed that started life, is what it felt like to me. But I'm not really sure exactly what it was. I'm really interested in that part of it. I don't know why.
I feel like they were putting things in these little incinerators.
Yeah.
These like mass spectrometers.
Yeah.
And however many like midichlorians would come out of it.
Yeah. Like if you had like a place where life never grew, or you went to like Mars and all of a sudden found plants just growing there, you'd probably take those, start testing them, and be like, what are these made of? Or is there some weird stuff in it that's causing this, you know?
Yeah.
Sadly, I must get to an appointment.
Yep.
I'll be
okay.
Bye.
Bye, Rick.
We will reframe.
They did have. I just want to bring this up. I guess.
Yeah.
I did see some people, kind of, I guess, upset that like Osha was brought in to be a Jedi Padawan when she's obviously too old to be a Jedi, similar to Anakin and stuff. And like here, like there's also the confrontation of like she's too old to be a Jedi, and part of me feels like that's the typical rule that they follow.
Yeah.
But there's times that circumstance changes that.
Well, yeah, there's no sense in asking the question or asking that to the council if they don't grant it sometimes, right?
Yeah. Like if she was just a baby, I feel like they just bring her in and they make her a Jedi. But this is like we must consult the council about this.
Sure.
And like maybe we don't know exactly what the rule is. Maybe we don't know how many times that has occurred. But there's definitely situations where like, well, this person's older than they typically would be to become a Jedi.
Yeah.
I mean, Ezra gets trained to be a Jedi and he's older, but that's after the council has been dissolved. You know?
Sure.
But it still occurs in different times, and
well,
I think it's just a
Anakin,
circumstance thing.
It was another time that we know of for sure that they were older than they should have been, and they were trained to be a Jedi. And it was another case of, assuming that this is the Vergence in the Force. Maybe we found this person specifically for this. Maybe this is the will of the Force.
Sure, and really, it wasn't any of that. It was the fact that Qui-Gon died, and Obi-Wan's going to do it anyway, so Yoda just said, fine, the council agrees with you, because we don't want you to be defiant to the council. So, go ahead, even though we said no already.
Yeah.
It was one of those situations.
I always felt like the main reason they said no, because if it was just a matter of age, I think they would just be like, what? It's too old. There's nothing we can do about it. Right here. Everyone signed it.
Sure. But there's the fear and everything, right?
Well, there's the fear and all the thing, but there's also the idea that Yoda can't, sense the boy's future. The Jedi, at least at the prequel at the prequel time, that's one of the things they're known for. They're known for hey, we can see bad things that are happening. If we're certain everything's cool, things are cool. That's just kind of the hubris they have, which is why Mace is like, hey, we have to tell the Senate that doesn't work anymore. And that kind of starts, I feel like, in the Phantom Menace, especially with Anakin's future. Clouded this boy's future, as you know. The council didn't themselves have a look at the twins here. They just kind of read the stuff and they're like, oh, there's somebody that says no? Then no! Is kind of what they sounded like. Whereas, Shmi lets Anakin go.
Sure.
Doesn't feel like that was happening here.
Well, I mean, the mother was, I guess. Mother Anastasia.
One of them was, yeah.
It's just the fight back from everyone else. But
yeah.
I think also the... oh, dang it.
But I wonder if Anastasia would have let Osha go if May also decided to leave. It makes me think I think she needs at least one of them for whatever she's doing.
I do feel like it was,
and she marked this one.
Okay, you can go, because that's what you want. I'll be a mother, but at a certain point, you're she's doing both right now by having Osha stay and. Or rather May stay and Osha go, but I think she would be completely leaving her leadership role behind if she allowed both of them to go, because they seem very pivotal to
I can see that,
to the whatever plans this coven has.
But no, I think like maybe being a Jedi or wanting to be a Padawan and being too old, like it's one of those things where it's like, well, in order to get in, you need a sponsor. Like you need someone who's already in the Jedi Order,
Sure,
to
kind
fight
of like
for you,
Qui-Gon
to
being like, I
advocate
want to
for
train
you.
them. You know, Soul's like, I want to train this person. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think you can be a 10-year-old just come in and be like, hey, I want to be a Jedi, and no one knows who you are.
Yeah.
Like, unless you have some other Jedi being like, oh yes, I feel a connection. I want to train this Padawan kind of thing.
It is strange how strongly Soul felt about it and how emotionally he was fighting for this opportunity to train.
I think that there's some kind of connection through the Force, perhaps with them, because we also have, and we saw a little bit of it in this episode, but in the last flashback where Osha is drawing like the Jedi symbol, having never left this planet, not knowing what's off this planet, not knowing what Jedi are, like, but she draws this symbol from visions through, I assume, the Force. You know, like
Sure.
I think there is some kind of connection there. We just don't know what exactly that might be. So maybe we get more explanation
Just
with
visiting the homepage of the Force all the time and seeing all
You
these
went to the
posts from
Force.net.
Jedi. Yeah.
I don't know.
I was like, oh, that's a cool symbol. I'm going to draw that.
But, I mean, they even talked about the M counts of the twins in this one too, similar to what they did with Anakin whenever finding him and seeing how strong he was with the Force. And like they talk about how it's very high. They don't say it's strong higher than Master Yoda.
Complainers have still made them too afraid to say midichlorian.
Well, I mean, sure, but I think M count is also a very medical way of looking at that. Like,
I know.
Sure.
Lots of times talking about like white blood
count.
cells and stuff like that
Yeah.
too. They don't say like, well, your white blood cell count. They make it shorter to be able to say it as well. You know, so while yes, I think it's like there's that stigma of midichlorians and how much people hated it whenever it came to the prequels. I think also in a medical kind of sense, it also makes sense.
Yeah.
I agree. I just every time I'll hear it, I'll always think of it first. I don't want to do that. I like not doing that, but sometimes certain criticisms get in your head, and I just can't not think of it now.
Sure.
I just go, oh, M counts, okay. Must be midichlorians that they're talking about, okay.
Yeah.
And then that's all I
No,
kind
they
of
did use a different term here.
The symbionts?
Yeah, the symbionts. Like, we haven't heard that in
so the symbionts
canon before, right?
I think they're speaking of the specific things that live in your blood are the same as what they're saying, right? Like midichlorians they're microscopic beings that live in your blood.
Sure.
I think that the symbiots are meant to be like those actual beings that they're saying, because they have a symbiotic relationship with you, and then you can you need them to be able to hear the Force. Is kind of the idea, I suppose, right? They're like your Force ears.
So I think what they're doing, they're measuring the M count of being like, here's how much midichlorian is in their blood. But then they're looking at it and like, of these symbionts that live in our bloodstream to help us control the Force, they are exactly the same between these two when they shouldn't be.
Whereas, like, I don't know if this is the right comparison, but Yoda can sense differences in the clones, you know? I wonder if he would sense differences in the twins.
Probably not.
Or do you think it's closer to
if
clones
that's
as opposed to identical twins?
If that's the feeling that he gets from people who even Torbin said, like, even twins would have a different symbiont.
Yeah.
Whatever profile or whatever word he used.
Like theirs is almost looking at like there was one person who was split into two, which kind of pushes more of like a dyad kind of thing, or something with the Vergence maybe, or maybe something with the witches like working on whatever they were trying to do.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what she meant when she said about like everyone must walk through fear, everyone must be sacrificed to fulfill destiny, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, and that these kids would lead their coven with the Ascension. Like,
saying,
my first thought for that was that, well, yeah, give them a few years, they'll get older, and they will lead. They'll be our future, you know? But
Sure.
But the way they talk about it felt different than that.
Yeah, and why the detail, like, the witches don't raise young? You know, like, they gather followers, but they don't actually...
They don't have children.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't think it's just like, well, you know, just the next generation, you know? Like, it feels like they're doing something with these kids.
And that's why... Well, yeah, like, you know, Hansel and Gretel weren't her kids.
Yeah, and
the Switch just found them.
I kind of think that needs to be the case for Soul to be able to feel so uncomfortable like he does. Like, no, if those girls stay there, they die.
Yeah, they
It's
shouldn't
kind of
have
the feeling
children.
he gets.
Why do they have children then?
Yeah.
There's something they're doing.
I don't know. Those are the the feelings I get. I am a little remiss that we only have one episode left, and I'm still having those kind of like. I think this flashback I've seen in 2 different episodes is telling me this. You know,
I get what you mean. Usually when you reach, especially if you don't know if is there going to be more, is this all it's meant to be? Like you want to get to this point and be like, oh, I now have a good idea of what we're doing. Now let's wrap everything up for like the end of the story. But it does feel like I'm like kind of there, but I don't quite get it. But I mean, Clone Wars did that to me all the time.
Yeah, I get you.
You know, I'd watch one episode and be like, wow, man, what a cool episode. But now I'm questioning these. And that whole episode's done. They might not ever come back to that again.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Like, what are Immortus gods?
Sure,
You know? How do, whatever it
Yeah.
is, you know? But
Any more of that?
Yeah.
so, I don't know. We'll have to see. But I do feel like I have a better grasp on at least what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Definitely.
the perspectives of why May, you know, it's like, oh, you don't strike an unarmed person. It's like, oh, you don't? And like, May stood there and watched Soul stab her mother, who didn't have a weapon, but she was doing some weird smoky shit, you know? Like, well, I don't know what that means.
Sure.
I don't know either.
But from May's perspective,
The Jedi are evil.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you can't argue that. He killed her mom.
But from Soul's perspective too, like I understand like when talking to Osha being like, I couldn't save May before. You know?
Sure.
Let me save her this time. It was like in episode 3, I think it was.
Yeah.
Right? Like he was there and he couldn't save both, so he chose Osha, who he felt more connected to, right?
Yeah.
That he let his emotions guide him there. But in episode 3, whenever he wanted to go and he fought with May separately, I think it was 3, he like wanted to go and make things right from what he couldn't do before.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There just seems to be like a lot of the word choices he used. I don't know if it's him trying to justify his actions to himself, or if it's something that he genuinely is worried about and believes. Like, yeah, he said that the sister was marked with dark magic, but Osha resisted being marked. Like it's something that's being done to these children, you know, and she resisted.
Well, yeah.
It was though, right?
Yeah, I suppose so. As opposed to like a passing of the torch, it feels like it's a sacrifice.
He's using language that puts a connotation on it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and it's like, I mean, it's like witches in general, right? Like witches kind of have that bad, like
Maleficent kind of
perspective.
Yeah.
In society, typically anyway, right? Like usually you think of witches, you're like, oh, witches, they're bad, right?
Sure.
So like in here, same thing. Like while having the witches also viewpoint of the Jedi, talking about like in the few episodes ago, the things they did and whatnot and how bad they are. You have the Jedi maybe looking at this dark magic is how they view it, and they marked one child, but the other child they didn't. And she must have resisted it. Like we had to save her and stop her from being marked with the darkness, you know, or whatever. So. And like you could look at the Night Sisters and be like, they're evil.
You can,
but you could also look at the Night Sisters and be like, well, they don't seem that bad, you know. Count Dooku didn't like them, you know. But like sometimes when you're with them and you're with Ventress and stuff, you're like, I don't know, they don't seem too bad, you know, like they're all right.
Well, I mean, from Mother Anastasia, you know, that greeting with the Jedi and then the speaking to Torbin inside of her mind, that was very Galadriel and Frodo at Lothlorien, where when you first meet that character, there's like,
I don't know if I trust this person.
They say a dark witch lives in these woods, you know, that type of thing. So I definitely got that feeling there. But poor Torbin, he's just a kid, just wanted to go back home. This is like his first big mission. He's bored.
7 weeks.
Missing home, the only place he's ever known.
Sure.
And then this happens, and
Wookiee beat him up.
And then he literally like grieves about it. He like regrets everything that's happened.
Yeah.
For the rest of his life until he kills himself.
Well, yeah, that's another thing too, where like
as well.
Yeah.
I like we were talking about it before, but I think like he feels responsible, and we can kind of see why he does. I think Kalnaka can also have a sense of like my mind was attacked, and then I attacked my friends.
So I don't want to hurt anybody ever, so I'm going to go and live in exile.
So I go and live in exile. Like I think you can get some of those.
He's making these drawings in his tree.
Yeah, just because it was in his mind, you know, and he just stuck. Like he's almost like driving himself crazy. Just
those witches were in his mind when they died. Like there might be something still left in there, some echo of them.
Maybe.
Yeah. So like it's there's some interesting aspects, but I can understand better why each of those 4 Jedi that May wanted to kill were kind of in the position where they were.
Yeah.
I did have a thought partway through the episode of like, well, if if there are some pieces of these witches left in any of their minds from the domination, and there was some kind of connection to like Plagueis or something like that, it would be in their best interest to try and remove any memory of him from any echoes that might still exist.
Yeah.
So killing the Jedi who were there and thus destroying any remnants in their minds or whatever of his memory would behoove him.
Noble intentions. I did like her line. Those noble intentions are going to get every Jedi in the galaxy killed. Or something like that.
No, yeah, that's what the witch said, right? Just foreshadowing like them trying to be noble and help, and even still, it's interesting, like having, I don't know, looking at Star Wars, looking at the timeline, seeing how things were in the High Republic, and like looking at the prequels and being like, this is like the Jedi are kind of like falling into their worst. Like, sure, there's good Jedi and they're meaning well and they're trying to help people, but they have fallen to these ideals, to doing these jobs, to doing this and this, and it's just it's interesting when you look at like where original trilogy is and what they talk about the Jedi, and then we get to see them kind of in their prime, but even that wasn't in the Jedi's prime, you know? I don't know. It's interesting kind of getting different perspectives on it as we continue to grow the mythology.
And we got to remember too, like no one's saying the Jedi are wrong. It's the Jedi are flawed. Like, all institutions are flawed because humanity is flawed. We get stuff wrong. The idea is that once you've confronted the wrong, you fix it. You make it right, and the Jedi will refuse to do certain things.
Bury their head in the sand.
You know? So those flaws will just eventually lead to being taken advantage of. It's not that they fell, it's that Palpatine extended his foot and tripped over their flaws.
They had blinders on.
I guess so, but like while looking at what they chose to do before Palpatine finally made his trip move, like they were leading themselves down a flawed path to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely.
They definitely didn't, I don't know. And
they didn't help themselves.
And what the idea of what the Jedi should have been.
Yeah.
They didn't follow that route.
Alrighty, well, we're going to need a poll for this episode.
Guys, for poll for this week, we want to know, with having our second flashback to the events on Brendok, have they answered the questions you had and wanted to know about what occurred there, and maybe like things about our twins, the mothers, the Night Sisters or Coven?
Yeah.
The Jedi? Or do you still have some questions that you're wanting to have answered? And if you do have questions, let us know in the comments of the poll, and we will be able to talk about those next week during the finale episode of The Acolyte.
You got me, because there's ones I have, but do I want to know the answers?
Sure.
Or is it more fun to not know them?
Sure, yeah. Like, which way do you want to go?
Damn you. Damn your great poll-making ability.
Tell us your thoughts over at blindwing.com. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Acolyte with us. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. Let us know you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button, because we'll be back next week with more Acolyte. And as mentioned before, we are going to be having a Badonkagong next Thursday after the final Acolyte episode to talk all about Acolyte, how things went, what we liked and didn't like, what you liked and didn't like. Also, we have a book from the High Republic we're covering as well.
A Badonkagong.